Hey everybody, JJ here. It is Sunday, May 31st, the last day of May 2020. Welcome to this update today, this report. Today we're going to talk about the housing collapse. It'll be worse in these areas. We're going to talk about what areas. Bubble home prices versus remote work. It's going to be tied, it's going to be related here. We're going to talk about that. Dangers will escalate, and finally timing the real estate downturn. Real quick announcement to my Patreons. Thank you for your support, by the way. But I just uploaded a video yesterday, so check the link below, please, down to my Patreon channel. If you're not already a Patreon, you can support this channel and check me out at Patreon with exclusive videos for as little as $1 a month. Again, link down below. Recent upload. Again, you do help keep this channel alive when you support me via Patreon. Also, one more thing real quick before we get started. Please check the link below. I've got a new backup channel. It's called Noise Blitz. And I just uploaded a video over there that I meant to upload to this channel, but it got deemed unfriendly or controversial, something like that. So I just decided to put it over here at this other channel. And it's called Noise Blitz. Now, I originally intended this channel to be about music. But with my current lifestyle, the family, the job, and this Bull Boom Bear Bust channel, I haven't had much time to really get into music or think about music. So I'm going to start uploading non-financial videos up over there, and hopefully it will attract some people that did not mean to look at financial news or information. My last one was about Chaos 2020, prepare for it to get worse. We talked a lot about the police and the situation with the riots and the uprisings and the looting. So it didn't quite fit the subject matter to this channel, so it's probably a good thing that I'll just put it on this separate channel. Also, that's a backup channel, so if something happens to this channel, you'll know where to find me. So link down below again, Patreon and the backup channel with a recent video that I just did that got deemed unfriendly. So if you're interested, please check that out, or just subscribe as a backup to this channel if something happens. Thank you very much. So let's get into the financial economic report here. This has to do with housing. Now, the housing collapse, it's going to be worse in these areas. What areas are those? Well, they are the larger cities, of course. And the larger cities typically see home prices rise the fastest, and that's for several reasons. One is you see, especially during the time when the economy is booming, you see the most jobs in these larger cities. As businesses, they open up in the larger cities. There's a bigger pool of population to choose from for employees. And two, people like being around cities. That's where most of the nightlife is, the shopping, that should be obvious. But three, you see the speculation the highest in these cities as people flock to the cities for jobs. You also see the most home flipping happen in these cities in real estate speculation. So as you can see, it's a perfect storm of rising home prices where the demand is so much greater in the larger metropolitan areas. And that increase in demand causes high home prices, and therefore you're going to see the biggest downturns, the biggest home price declines, the biggest carnage in the real estate market in these larger cities. Now combine that with the remote work that's now being implemented because of the sickness, because of the virus, and you're going to see even a bigger exodus out of the cities into the suburbs, and not just into the suburbs, in many smaller cities, middle America, versus the large coastal cities that we've seen the big concentration of the boom happening, especially in real estate. Recent article here out of Wall Street Journal. We've been talking about this for a while, but this is a good article. Remote work could spark housing boom in suburbs and smaller cities. Yes. With the lockdowns and the social distancing, companies are sending workers home. I'm one of them. I work at home here in La Mesa, and I talked about a little bit about my situation in that video at my backup channel, again linked down below. But it's very likely that many companies are going to stay with their remote workforce even after the social distancing ends. Or what if it doesn't end? What if the virus continues and never finds a cure or a treatment? You might see permanent remote work and more companies looking to do remote work. So now with remote work, you're not stuck to having to live next to your job or within driving distance of your job. Now, yes, there are a lot of people that do commute long distances. They live way out in the country, for example, and have to commute into the city. But now that you don't have the incentive to live near your job with the remote workers or the remote work situation, you're going to see a lot of people fleeing the more expensive states, the more expensive cities, into the country and middle America. And it's also a sub-headline here, online real estate platforms are reporting increased buyer demand as remote work culture spreads. Now, I should mention that we are not seeing real home price weakness yet. In fact, we're still up year over year. Prices are still rising in most areas, and that's for several reasons. We have the forbearance. There's been a moratorium put on foreclosures, and it's different from city to city, but we also have the government-backed loans. They are not foreclosing on those homes either. So it's a combination of different city to city regulations that are being passed, plus the federal loans are being protected right now. But what's going to happen after the protection ends, after the forbearance ends? You're going to start seeing real pain in the housing market. I still predict later this year, probably starting in the fall and as we enter 2021, where the big price drops and the big pain begins in the housing market. And it's going to be even more dramatic in these high home price areas, the coastal cities, the big metropolitan areas. All right, now how soon this happens and how bad it's going to be is also going to depend on regulations. For example, Nevada County foreclosures, the moratorium on foreclosures has been extended there. But it's a different story in Iowa. The governor there, foreclosure moratoriums will not be extended. Now maybe that will be changed or reversed, but you have to look at what's happening locally to try to calculate when the housing downturn may begin. As soon as the moratoriums are done, as soon as the foreclosures begin, that's when you're going to start seeing major price action to the downside in whichever city happens to loosen or eliminate those restrictions. Another recent headline, Colorado governor extends eviction and foreclosure protection for 15 days. What's going to happen after the 15 days? Will they extend it more? We don't know. You'll have to keep an eye on your local news because it's happening a little bit differently in every city as far as the time frames for the stopping of the foreclosures and evictions. Normally we would have already witnessed major price declines in many areas. Here's a headline out of Housing Wire. Mortgage delinquencies doubled in April, and the number is even worse since then, but I just thought I'd pull this article up here. So with mortgage delinquencies doubling, you would think you would see major panic to sell, but no, many sellers are pulling their home off of the market hoping the economy is going to get better, but I don't think it's going to get better. Many of these people that had their home for sale, that pulled it off the market and they plan on putting their home back on the market when things get better, I think they're in for a rude awakening, especially with all the additional chaos unfolding here with the protests and everything else happening. Cities being literally burned right now. Another recent headline, Black Knight reports record single-month surge in mortgage delinquencies. So the pain is going to be hitting the housing market. It's going to happen. It's just being delayed right now. They're kicking the can down the road. And we have a perfect storm brewing. It's just a matter of time, so stay prepared, stay ready. The unemployment numbers continue to get worse. Now we have more unrest happening nationwide, especially in the larger cities. We even have protests here in La Mesa, which I'm about 15 miles out of San Diego. I'm not downtown San Diego, but still protests are happening here in my neck of the woods here. And I also talked about that at my backup channel. Again, link down below to that backup channel. So please subscribe over there, and you can catch my other videos I'm going to start putting out, non-financial related probably, because it doesn't really fit the subject matter on this channel. Also, the link down below for Patreon if you're interested. Check me out over there. And I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about this remote work? Have you been put in a remote work position like I have? How are you liking it? Do you think, like I do, companies are going to continue this because of all the uncertainty that we're seeing in the world right now? Companies face much less liability when they have a remote workforce. They don't have to pay the building lease. They don't have to pay maintenance for the building or front desk people. They don't have to worry about the social distancing and the liability that comes from not social distancing properly, or the face mask and all those things that go along with having a corporate office or a commercial real estate location. And I think the remote worker thing's really going to boom here coming up in the next 5 to 10 years especially. And I think it's going to cause a big exodus out of these cities for that. And then other reasons, there's more dangers in the city, as we see happening right now with the protests. So thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate your support. Please come back for more financial economic news. as we bring you several new reports each and every week. Bye, everybody. Hope you're well.